Oh, good. So, we can catch up if you want. I mean, both of our families have gone doing a lot of stuff. Tori's just put in his 2 weeks notice after working at Fresh Market for 20 years. Now he's going to go work for Village Market. It's in Colorado. So I have 2 grandkids in Colorado. And then Kanisha and her husband are in Idaho with 3 grandkids. So we only have 5. And then Osman is my youngest. He's 25. He lives at home. And he's still in school. So, and he's got the same girlfriend from 9 years ago. And she's at her house, he's at his house, and they both have jobs, and they're both in school.
Oh boy.
And Joshua is he does a lot of video marketing things where he makes videos, and he's doing really well with that. And then Michelle is she's working and constantly working and lives alone, and she doesn't live alone. She has a roommate and has 2 cats, and so I don't know if she wants kids, but it does. That's okay. But that's kind of where our family. Oh, and Lisette's working at Edwards Life Science, and she just transferred departments, but she was the only one in her whole big department that was trained on all the machines and able to train other people. So she was like a trainer, and now she's in a new department, but she makes these gadgets that go up the arteries and into the heart.
Oh yes.
And so they have days where patients come and say, "This is what's in me." They show them, and you guys made this, and I'm alive because of it. Which that's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
And we get to go out there and see those things every once in a while. But they're an international company, and then I'm with Peak Alarm right now. I've been there for 10 years. Yeah. And before that, another alarm company. So I'm doing the same thing. And then, we're speaking with Lyle and Lorraine Gordon. This is my uncle. It's my last uncle alive, I guess you'd say. Right? How's that feel? Old. And I'm feeling, just like the check engine light comes on because I keep having issues come up. And then I just went in, it's been about 6 months ago, but I went in, I'd be on the floor doing a sit-up, and a big bulge would come out in the middle of my abdomen.
Oh.
About 1.5 inches high and about 5 inches long. And I said, that can't be normal. And the guys at work said, that looks like an alien. So I went to the doctor, and he says, it's a separation of the muscle wall. And he had some big term. He said, we need to take care of that. So they went in and they put a mesh over the whole abdomen. They put, laparoscopic surgery, I guess, where they did several holes.
Right.
And then they put a mesh through the doctor came in after. He said, you feel like you got hit by a truck? And I said, yeah. He said, that was me. I was like, okay.
I'm the truck.
But, one thing happens and then something else happens.
Yeah.
And different stuff. But
you're probably aware that Lorraine's having some heart issues.
Lori told me that, yeah.
Okay.
And is it just medication now, or are you going to do something?
I don't know. They're still trying to decide. Right this minute, it's just still medication.
Yeah.
I have a leaky valve.
Oh.
But they said they probably will
not surgery.
Do the surgery. They didn't feel like it was
to
bad enough.
Yeah. It wasn't to the point where.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
But then I have AFib.
AFib, yeah.
That's what started.
Well, and Lori and I had the same type of, it's not AFib, but it's something else. But
right.
That was concerning. My son Junior, 3 weeks ago, he's turning yellow, and he'll get winded just walking up the stairs. And he said, this is not normal. You need to go see a doctor. So he made an appointment. The next day he went in, and then the doctor called him 45 minutes after the appointment because he'd taken blood, and his hemoglobin was at 4.9, which is super low. If it's under 7, you need a blood transfusion.
Oh.
So the doctor said, get your butt to any ER right now. Don't stop for anything else because they're out to lunch, and you need a blood transfusion. And so they gave him blood transfusion. They gave him iron. They kept him in the hospital for 3 days, and they're still not real sure what's causing it. Yeah, because his body's not producing the iron.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's not that he's not eating iron. It's the weirdest thing. And so the doctors are trying to figure that out. It was like he had a bleed somewhere, but they did a scope through the top, and then they did the colonoscopy, and they couldn't find anything, and they've run all sorts of tests. So he's still set up to go into a hematologist, I believe they call it, a blood doctor.
Blood doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and so they've got to find out if he's making his own iron yet. But it's kind of a scare for a
that
25-year-old to.
Yeah, man.
And they
So,
said you could have a heart attack or a stroke anytime.
Oh, yeah.
But the leaky, I mean, as long as you're not exerting yourself or anything, they said it's probably okay, right?
Well, I don't know.
You don't run marathons.
They're still trying. No, I don't run marathons. No, I used to exercise. I used to walk like 5 days a week for 3 miles or so.
And Mom was doing that, and then
Was
she
she?
fell a couple of times. And
But I'm not doing that right now either.
no, probably not. And what's going? You're healthy and strong.
no,
No,
no. I had a stent put in, 6 months ago,
Yeah, but
in my heart.
and
no,
is
it's
it helping?
been it's been about a year. 'Cause
A year?
it was
Isn't that long?
before our trip in
Oh, that's right. So
In June.
Where'd you go on your trip?
May.
we took a state, country, and church history tour back.
Oh,
Bus tour back east.
that's cool.
It was nice. Saw a lot of very interesting places.
Oh, sure. David was going to Mexico every year, and then he started to go. He said, "Well, I don't even know all the states," and so then he started to go to all the different states instead of down to Mexico. But now he has macular degeneration, and he can't. They won't let him drive anymore. He doesn't see very well. He's still on a city commission where he does like the construction commission. He's on a board or something, so he's active there. He was on the volunteer fire department, but he can't do that anymore.
Down in Loa.
Did he have the shots in his eye for macular degeneration?
I'm sure he tried everything. I bet he did. He tried everything, and
I
then
have a good friend that's having that right now.
are the shots helping?
She doesn't know yet. She's only had 4.
Yeah, I think he had him. And then Sandy is in Colorado with her husband. They bought a 32-acre ranch,
Oh, really?
so they are busy. They're busy.
Yeah.
She has chickens, and she has. What else does she have? She said she has mostly just it's a ranch, and they flood it out when they have to irrigate every so often for their water shares, and they're not like I don't think they're growing anything other than like I think they have a small garden or something. But, yeah, so Sandy's son lives over there, and he's doing a nice business where he sells things online, and he sews like aprons and different. Now he's sewing these little booties that go on dogs.
Oh, for dog's feet.
Yeah. Hey, Laura. Oh, yeah. Good. We're both recording here.
Sweet.
I have my phone and my tablet in case one screws up. Good to see you. I told
If
your
you want
dad
to record, you can put yours by mine.
I get to see you every day in my front room, and they get to see you every
Oh, yeah.
day in the entry room.
In the picture.
In the
That's
picture.
right.
So I'm not doing. Maybe we'll do a little video later, but right now we're just audio recording. So with Mom, we just asked her what she could remember, and I tell you, she told us about riding to church in a wagon in Twilla. Do you remember that?
Don't remember that.
She told us about living on Redwood Road in a tent.
Yes, that I remember.
You do remember that?
Uh-huh.
That was that 1940 when she was 5, or was it later?
Let's see, that would have been, I was probably 2, so it'd be 1940.
Oh, so that was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have that picture of you sitting on Mom's lap. And that's the cutest picture. And that's, I probably had to
It's
put
that one right there.
Oh, is it?
Right up above.
Oh, yeah. And we've got that. I probably had to put that on this recording. But, and she told us, now, the story's a little kind of different each time I hear it from somebody, but she said that she was on the bus, and the bus driver asked her, "Where do you live, little girl?" And she said, "On a tent on Redwood Road." and it just embarrassed her sisters because they didn't want anybody to know
No.
they lived in a tent. Is that right? Or
I don't know.
I've heard that too.
yeah, and so that's
So I must have heard it from your mom.
probably yeah. And then how they lived out in Wendover when Grandpa was working, where they were making the bomb for Hiroshima.
Yeah, he was driving
truck out there,
dump truck.
and he drove a Kennecott too, didn't he? Truck.
I don't remember him ever driving a Kennecott truck.
I know that Grandpa told me that he drove with 4 trailers, and that doesn't happen too often anymore, does it? I don't know. I don't see
Yeah,
trucks with 4 trailers.
Yeah. That was
No,
my
it'd be
trailers.
illegal now.
Yeah, I mean, but it was like on what they were doing, whatever they were doing. But
Well, if he was a Kennecott, it was probably just on the slag dump,
yeah, probably just transporting
just
something,
straight back and
just
forth.
straight. So she told us about. Well, Grandpa told me how he took the sheep up Parley's to graze.
To raise, yeah.
But I can't picture how do you get up part. Of course, now everything's completely different than it was back then. I remember Grandpa taking us to hunt rocks, and Tori and I, and not my son, but my cousin Tori. And one time, Grandpa was in the middle of out at Strawberry. We went fishing. Tori and I were just on the bank goofing around. But Grandpa he fell over, and his waders filled full of water. And then somebody else got to him because we were just little, and they helped him out of the water. And Grandma, we took Grandpa to a hotel to warm him up because he was just shivering. But he would take us places in that old Falcon to get rocks, and we'd bring the Falcon back full of rocks.
Lorraine and I took that Falcon on our honeymoon.
Oh gosh, what year was that Falcon? Do you remember?
61.
61.
It was a new Falcon.
Back then, yeah, it was a new Falcon.
It was new then.
And Grandpa said Grandma kind of got mad on him. Not Grandma Ann, the Grandma Elizabeth got mad at him because of so many rocks, so she made him bury him. So on Marion Street, whoever has that house right behind the house, Grandpa dug a giant hole and filled it with rocks and then put dirt over the top.
He turned that into a compost pit.
That same spot?
Same spot.
So were the rocks.
Underneath the rocks.
There's the rocks are underneath it.
The rocks are underneath the compost.
I mean, it was deep. He had that hole down probably 5-6 feet deep.
Because there's petrified wood there. There's crystal. I mean, there was everything.
So it's there. I could pinpoint it in the yard.
Oh, you could. In my mind, it was center house about 20 feet back, behind the house. Is that wrong?
That's a little farther back than the 20
It's more than 20 feet. Okay,
It's probably
30 or
probably about 30 feet.
30 feet.
Yeah. 15, 20 feet from the old shed that was there. I don't think the shed's there anymore.
I don't think so.
think
I haven't been
got
there
torn
lately.
down.
Well, I drove past my house the other day and drove past your house.
Yeah. That was
I always tell people my lucky number is 449, and your phone number had 449 in
yeah.
it.
4992 is what this one is.
Yeah, and then my address was 449, and my dad's ship in the Navy was 449, and my company ID number at my other company was 44999, and just something you notice. But
Well, I lived at 449 before you did.
in the house we were in before we
Chicago
lived there,
Street. Yeah.
is that why they went there? Because you were there before?
Yeah, Dad and Mom bought that property
Oh,
initially,
okay.
and then Marilyn and Dave bought it from them.
From them.
Uh-huh.
Because it was interesting. I have a friend, her name's Missy Hachia. And when I was in junior high, we went over to her house for a party. And she has tunnels under the house. It's over on, gosh, I want to say 8th West, or it's right next to the freeway, whatever street. Didn't they change the West?
They did. They
Yeah, they
changed
did.
Yeah,
them.
so
Yeah.
it's the one right next to the freeway, but she lived in there and there was tunnels under her house. And then we figured out, talking to Mom, that was your house. So you lived in that same house, and there were tunnels from Prohibition under the house.
That's 6 West.
6 West,
That's
okay.
6 West.
And so, well, what is it now? Is it still 6 West or
Still
6 West when you were?
It's 6 West now.
Now, okay, now.
Uh-huh.
And so I got to be in that house. I mean, I don't know how many years. That's a lot of years later when Missy was there.
That was the house that we called Dickinson's.
Oh, that's what you called it?
Mom and Dad rented it from Dickinson's.
Oh, okay.
And they were the owners of the house. And we didn't own that house.
And how old were you then?
I was 4, 5. That was the
After Redwood Road, you moved over
after,
there.
yes. When we left Redwood Road, we moved to 6th West,
Yeah.
same street, but a much smaller house. And that was Peterson's. They rented that from Peterson's.
Oh.
And then when Dickinson's became available, we just
Then you moved into that.
about a 3/4 of a block down from there.
Okay.
And the railroad tracks ran right in front of that
Yep,
house.
right there.
We used to watch the troop trains.
And was that Grandma that Mom mentioned that Grandma would give people stuff to eat, but they had to chop wood? Is that true?
I don't remember that.
She would give people off the train, like the guys that came that would ride the trains, and then they would
The
stop.
hobos.
Yeah, hobos. That's
Probably. That sounds like Mom.
yeah. She'd make him chop some wood or do some errands or do something. But
She, I don't know why she had them chop wood, because we didn't
you didn't have a.
have a wood burning.
Oh well, then that doesn't make any sense.
But
So do you remember the tunnels?
I don't remember the tunnels.
Okay.
No.
Well, he's 5 years old. I mean,
5. I mean, Gabriel, would he be
They-
interested in tunnels? Probably.
They probably kept us out of the tunnels.
They probably did.
probably kind of
Oh, dangerous tunnels.
dangerous tunnels for a 5-year-old.
That was where we were living when I set the field on fire behind the house to roast the grasshoppers.
Oh,
To roast some, were you gonna eat them?
My older sisters told me how good grasshopper legs were.
Were they joking?
I don't know if they were
Oh,
good.
oh.
I assume so.
Did you do it with a magnifying glass or something?
No, I did it with matches from the kitchen.
And it got the field.
And the field got on fire.
The fire department show up.
Yes, actually they did.
so was your house facing, like, was your backyard facing the freeway? I guess was the freeway there,
It wasn't a freeway then.
It was the road.
but it was a road,
Well, there was a road in front of our house,
but not in back.
not immediately behind us, no.
But now it's the freeway. Is that right?
About a block.
About a block.
Okay.
About a block.
So there's more houses in back of you where that.
Right
field
now,
is?
I don't know if. Let me
We'll have to
think.
drive over there and look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see. I don't. I don't know.
James William Love was my great uncle,
I remember that house.
and he was. You remember that house?
The
He
house
was
where
the.
Dave was raised.
And James William Love was a fire chief in Salt Lake City in
Oh, okay, different
1901.
Mm-hmm.
And at work, Peak Alarm, we have this big museum, and we have all these pictures and old things, and it's really really cool. We actually have a working telegraph and everything, but we have a picture of his receiving station where they would receive the alarm signals in on a ticker tape. It punches hole in the paper, and then they read the number in a little book, and so that's kind of the historical thing there. But yeah, so Mom just kind of told us those things. She said when out in Wendover, when an airplane would come by, everybody would run out and look up at the airplane, just because there weren't that many of them landing and flying around. But
It was the trailer, the mobile home, where we were living in. We didn't live in a tent back there.
in a mobile
Was
home
that before the tent?
That's before the tent.
before the tent.
Okay.
Before the tent. This is where Lloyd went wandering off and came back carrying a copperhead
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
right behind the
It-
head.
and it didn't bite
It
him.
didn't bite him, but just about gave Mom a heart attack.
I bet it did.
I was there, but I was too young to really know what's going on. But I heard the story, of course, a number of times.
And Mom says that you guys would slide down the sand dunes on
cardboard box.
cardboard box, and you slid over a copperhead once.
Oh, yeah, they used to sun themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
Huh? Didn't know copperheads were out there.
Yeah, they're out there. So anyway, that's kind of that period of time. And then after we moved into Salt Lake, we lived there on 6th West for 2 different houses.
2 houses.
And our neighbors there on 6th West are the ones that started Clover Club potato chips.
Oh, wow.
Was that in Kaysville?
No, they started on 6th West.
Oh, right
Oh.
there.
They
So it's
used
a
to make them
different-
out of their house.
Oh,
Wow.
And we always had potato chips because Mom would bake bread
Yeah,
She'd
and
make-
trade.
and trade. Their boys liked the bread, so she would trade, and we always had potato chips.
So you said you remember the Love House. Where was that?
Let's see, where exact was it? It was facing south.
Facing south.
Where would it be? It was kind of, it would have been probably on 5th North,
Okay.
and it was a small adobe house.
Maybe she's the one that had him chop wood. I get that confused, but okay. So
You know,
Fifth
where
North.
your dad was raised.
Yeah, because we were the 449 North, but over on Chicago, and then this was back over on the west of that.
Yeah, it'd be west of
Or-
that.
Was it west of that? Or was it east of that?
Chicago,
It was east of that, right?
yeah, it would have been east.
Would have been
right.
east.
Get my directions fouled up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would have been a little bit east of that.
And so then, I mean,
Then-
that's when you were tiny, and then did you go to West High School too?
Well, let's progress.
Okay, progress. Yeah.
After we left 6th West, we moved on to Marion Street. Dad found this duplex on Marion Street. It was owned by the moving company, Muller Up Moving Company. It had in the back, along the alley, a big 3-car garage shed that Muller Up used to store moving and storage. And they stored stuff in that. And the front was a duplex, strictly duplex, laid out really strange. You would walk in the south entrance, you'd be in the front room, then you would walk through a bedroom
Oh,
into the kitchen, and right off the kitchen was the bath, and it had an old sleeping porch that had been built onto the back.
and was there an identical one of those on the other side?
Yes, identical, just flipped.
Flipped.
It was, they were just the same.
Did you get both of them?
Yeah, we bought the whole building.
Bought the whole
so
building.
you bought that one before Chicago Street?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
But then, before Chicago Street, and then you.
Well, we lived there for a while, and it didn't take very long for Dad to decide he needed to make that duplex into one little
So
house.
did you only live in half of it?
No, we lived in all of it. We just had 2 entrances. And
Well, is that the one? Is that the one later that they lived in, or is it a different house from
No,
Marion?
It's the
it's
same
the
one.
same.
That's all the same.
So
one.
what he did is decided he was, first of all, he cut an arch. That house was made out of adobe brick
Okay.
with a brick facade.
Yeah.
And in the inside, where the front room was, that great big long front room,
Mm-hmm.
initially he cut an archway that was about 9-10 feet wide,
Yeah.
so that it still had the support, and that connected the two houses. And then he decided, well, I don't want to keep walking through the bedrooms. So on the one side, on the south side, he built a hall, a 3-foot wide hall, and it reduced the bedroom size,
Oh.
but it allows us to go to the kitchen
Without
going
being in
through the
somebody's bedroom.
And then he curved the hall at the end. You probably remember how it goes.
I remember, and Lori and I we would be under the big table with the big legs.
Yep. Downstairs.
During all the parties, we'd be under the table. I don't know. We were just under the table all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
It's downstairs now. Here.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it's downstairs. And anyway, he just made it into a single family. Now you lived there for a while, didn't you?
I don't remember that. I probably
See,
did.
We lived there while we were building this house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I remember it because we lived there.
Yeah, we lived there. while
Well,
we were
you
building
lived on the other house that was west of Marion.
When we were first married, we lived on Samandi,
Samandi. That's right.
1120
Oh, yeah,
Samandi.
that's where we lived.
Uh-huh.
Like most of my growing up. And then when we were building this house, we only lived in Grandpa's house for.
Did you go to Oniqua?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dad went to Oniqua too.
Yes, I went
Oh,
to
yeah,
Oniqua.
Oniqua.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to Jackson and Northwest and then West, but
I never went to Jackson because we moved here.
how are you?
I went to Adelaide for 6th grade.
Oh,
Where for 6th grade?
Adelaide, just right down here. in
Adelaide.
Bradford.
Oh.
They drove me here every day.
Wow.
yeah, Bud and Lloyd went to Oniqua
Okay.
that far back.
Yeah.
Bud has a unique memory. On the first floor, the windows in Oniqua used to open,
Uh-huh.
and they could not keep him in the classroom
Ah.
because he would climb out the windows. Yeah, I never did that, but my brother did.
Well, I remember it because I crashed my bike at Oniqua. It was brand new and I was 5. And I was upset because I broke the mirrors. And then later, the paratroopers landed at Oniqua that were supposed to land at the fairgrounds. They went off course and we ran over there and got to see them. And then they tore it down and built church.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that playground. That's where I learned that I could run fast.
and were you in track and everything?
Not on Oniqua.
No. But
Yeah, in high school.
In
yeah.
high
in
school.
high school.
You're getting ahead of me again.
Okay. Yeah.
The 5th and 6th graders used to run from the school over to where Patricia used to live, that house,
Yep.
and back. Have to races.
Was it green? Just
It
It is now.
was
it is
then.
now.
Was it
When they
then
lived
too?
there, it was
then.
green.
Okay,
Yeah.
I remember it being green.
Uh-huh. Anyway, they used to have races. 5th and 6th graders running back and forth, and I was always the fastest one.
That's cool.
So I learned I could run fast.
Fast.
Yeah.
So
And,
then you got into track later.
yeah, got into track later. Okay, then we moved. We were on Marion Street. Marion Street had tunnels under the house.
It did too.
Oh, it did? I didn't know that.
When we moved in,
Was that from Prohibition?
no,
No.
that's from necessity.
Oh, okay.
When we moved in, there was there really wasn't any heat to speak of.
Yeah.
So Dad put in, right in the middle of the front room, a floor furnace.
Okay.
In the middle of the one side or in the
Middle of the middle,
middle of,
Wow.
So there was a wall there or after you cut
after
the
the
arch?
wall was gone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the arch, put in the
Yeah. Oh, I skipped a spot. After that arch was cut, a couple of years, several years later actually, because I was junior high school by then. My friends and I were over in the fairgrounds playing around. We spent a lot of time playing around at the fairgrounds. And there was a great big long lamb bean over there. And the caretakers said, they're just going to haul it away.
There's a big piece of wood.
Yeah, a lamb bean. 6 inches wide,
Oh, okay.
by about 14 inches
Yeah.
high, 20 feet long.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, well, we could use that. So my friends and I put it on our back and carried it home. And Dad thought that's just the thing. So that became our support, and that's still in that house.
Oh my gosh.
So that went up in the attic
Yeah.
and supported from one bearing to the other bearing. And then we could take out that arch, take out everything of the arch,
Wow.
and open it completely up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what happened to that house.
That's cool.
And then later on, of course, he built that dormer up above, bedroom up
Bedroom,
above.
yeah.
Do,
that's
do you
where-
remember Julia Wonderly?
Oh, yes, very well.
So Julia Wonderly she'd drive her car and you could hardly see her head above the
she's a
steering wheel.
little short kid.
And she used to tell us, if you wait long enough, there's always an opening. And Mom said that she would move her piano herself. She was just a little tiny lady, and to clean and just do things. And Mom would tell her, "Don't do that. We'll get you some help over." But anyway, I went to the Valley Music Hall. It's here close.
It's now our regional center.
Okay, it's a round building, right?
Yeah.
And I was there doing a concert, and there was a guy there, and he had a missionary tag on. It says Wonderly, and I says, "Do you know who Julia Wonderly is?" And he said, "That's my mom." And so I told him the story and what she said. He just laughed. But I've seen him like 3 times since then. But Julia wondered, and was she the same one that would wash the street? Because Tori and I would be walking down the street, and she'd get mad because she had just washed the section of street in front of her house. Don't walk on that. I just washed that.
All of the Wonderleys were a little bit peculiar.
Well,
Yeah, I saw one of the Wonderly boys at Lynn's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my friends that
the
I
cane,
grew up with.
the cane.
Yeah. He went to the funeral. Anyway,
So you were saying they put the furnace right in the middle.
yeah, we put the furnace right smack in the middle. But you couldn't get anywhere down into it. So in the north side of a house in the back, which had become a utility room now instead of a kitchen, cut a trap door and dug a fruit cellar.
Who dug it?
We all dug it.
You all dug it.
We
It
all
was a
dug it.
project.
It was
Spoons.
dirt hauled up in buckets.
Oh my gosh.
We dug a fruit cellar, and then from that fruit cellar, we went over to the center of the house and dug a tunnel over to that furnace,
Wow.
straight down to the furnace, so that we could get in there and service it, change valves, whatever needed to be done.
Yeah. It was a gas furnace?
I would guess.
Gas.
Patricia stepped on it in the middle of the winter one
On the
year.
furnace? On the grate or what?
Yes, on the grate, and she had
Oh, she had
welts, burns on her,
a
on
burn.
her feet.
Oh,
So
wow.
you guys all just knew to stay away from it.
Yeah, but she was little
Yeah.
and didn't know better, and we weren't watching her apparently.
And she learned pretty
She
fast.
learned quickly.
Oh
But
my
then
God.
from that central tunnel, we would tunnel off to different areas that needed attention. There was a water line that ran out to the southeast corner, that was where a hose bib was, and it started to leak. So we dug a tunnel
It's starting to sound like paint your wagon.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
over to that
Dig a tunnel.
over to that. We used to spend a lot of time on our bellies in there under that house.
Gosh.
But
Wow.
the fruit cellar worked really well. We just go down and there were shelves built, peaches and apricots and
Down there stored.
pears stored. Mm-hmm.
And when you say we, you mean all the kids,
All-
girls,
every-
boys,
yeah,
all of
everybody-
them?
everybody
Just
was doing it.
everybody.
Well, the girls didn't do any of the digging.
No.
No, but
Boy, nowadays they would.
they
So we get your butt down there and do some digging.
they helped mom can the fruit.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty much Marion Street.
Wow.
Then they decided they wanted to move. I don't know why. They just decided they
And how
wanted
old
to
were you?
move.
The tunnels were done. They could move.
I was probably last year in junior high.
Oh,
in
okay.
that area.
Okay.
14, something like that.
And they started looking, and they almost bought one out in Farmington.
Oh.
And I really liked that house, particularly because
In Farmington?
it had an old-fashioned gas stove in the kitchen, a range
Oh.
on legs. You
Yeah.
know, spindle legs. It was really a neat-looking old
But
stove.
they didn't buy it.
But they didn't buy that one. Instead, they bought the one on Marion Street, 449,
No, Chicago.
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 Okay.
right across the street from Linford's,
Yep.
who was our neighbors 3 houses down on Marion Street.
Oh. Linfords were the only one in the neighborhood that had an alarm system.
Oh, okay.
That's when I was growing up. But yeah.
But they had money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had money. He was one of the partners in Linford Brothers Glass,
Oh, okay.
or Utah Glass, they called it.
And then the neighbor next to me was Stagel.
Stagel.
And then I can't remember the other
So
ones.
how long did you guys live on Chicago?
We didn't live there very long, probably a year and a half, maybe.
It was pretty small. It's a pretty
Yeah,
small
it's
house.
not a very large home.
Yeah.
And was everybody still at home?
Oh, no.
No.
Lynn, Patricia, and I were the only ones
Only
home.
ones. Okay.
Oh.
That also had, well, had a fruit cellar.
Yes, yes.
Curvy stairs going down to the fruit
Yeah,
cellar.
I remember that.
But it had no tunnels.
No tunnels.
No tunnels.
just the fruit
It did
cellar.
have the dirt shelves
Yes,
because we put peaches and stuff down there.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had the dirt shells. But yeah, we just didn't live there very long.
And then you moved back to Marion Street?
Then we moved back to Marion
The
Street.
same place?
Hmm.
So what'd you do in the meantime? Rent it out? The year and a half that you were in Chicago?
No, it sat empty.
Oh, it's that
Really?
empty. Can't do that now. You go to squatters.
Yeah, no, it sat empty. And then, well, they finally sold it.
Yeah, yeah.
And we lived in it.
So,
Wow.
so you guys moved back into it, and then that's when Marilyn and Dave moved into Chicago, right?
Yes, that's right. And then we lost Mom.
Right.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Ooh, do you remember?
I don't
I
remember.
don't know.
That she died?
Yeah, she died.
I was 9.
Oh, so
Oh,
that
let me
gives
tell
us
you.
the
So
year.
72.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Dad remarried and moved up to Bountiful, and the house was empty. And then we moved in. For how long were we there? A year?
While we were building this one.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. And it's
Oh.
the whole time we were.
After Samandi, you moved out of Samandi
Yeah.
into Marion.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was the whole time I was in 6th grade.
Yeah,
Because I would have stayed at Oniqua, but that was the year that they closed it, so I would have had to go to
Oh,
Jackson.
Jackson.
So it was like, why go to Jackson?
And they drove you up here.
Yeah, when we were moving here. So then I just went to school up here.
Lorraine made lots of trips.
Yep. Every
Oh, wow.
day.
Yeah.
every day.
Every day. Oh,
Back and forth.
sacrifice for kids.
Yeah.
Right? Wow.
Luckily, it's not too far.
No, it's
I mean,
not too
it's
far.
not like Kelly taking her kids back to South Jordan or something like that.
Well, you know, Grandpa sent me a letter when I was in Guatemala on my mission. He sent me a letter, and the letter said that he had moved up here, Bountiful, and he said that this person called him on the phone a guy had been searching for genealogy records and said, I'm told that you have those. And Grandpa said, well, who gave you my name? He says, your mother did. And this guy had called all the phone numbers over in Twila and everywhere, trying to find the Gordon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally got this number, and the lady answered, and she told him to call Reed, and that he was
Did
gonna.
she say I gave them to my son?
Yeah, and of course she'd been dead for years and years and years. And I have that letter that he wrote me. That's pretty cool.
So, and he had them.
He had the records and
Yeah.
got with the guy and helped the guy out.
Yeah.
Now we just send an email.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, anyway. That's pretty much where it is.
So then he moved up here, and then we lived in Marion, and then they sold Marion after that.
Yes, then they sold it.
Well, not immediately,